You're listening to Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. In this installment, a parenting technique, one of the most useful, fanning the flames of terror. We just sent the small cutie back to Canada.
Aww.
Yeah, I know, we all cried. Like little bitty, like we're not admitting that we're crying. Nobody's admitting that we're crying here. Tears. Just kind of people who needed to blow their nose, or the spousal unit with the little crack in the voice. Me, I pretty much I would have wept openly, but I was driving. So again, the spousal unit, bless his heart, looks at how long it should take to get to the airport and forgets to check to see whether there's a football game. Yeah, so we drive right up to Soldier Field as the game is letting out. That makes it a little difficult to get to the airport. But
so what wound up happening?
The trick to it wasn't so much getting to the airport. The trick to it was pretending that I wasn't at all anxious, because the small cutie is very anxious. That's his thing, being anxious. So if you've ever had that situation where you have to pretend that you're not at all worried so that your kids don't worry, that was 40 minutes of that. You know what? It really is stressful. It's extremely stressful pretending that you're under no stress.
Yeah.
I
bet.
I hadn't really thought about how stressful that was until I dropped him off at the airport with plenty of time. And then I pulled over at the dollar store and bought a bag of wasabi peas just so I didn't chew my own arm off. Yeah.
I'm the worst stressor in the history of mankind, womankind, animal kind, any kind. That if I have something planned and I have to be somewhere at a certain time, I have to be there early. And if I'm not,
yes,
my whole brain, my whole body just goes into overdrive.
Fortunately, since your surgery, you've hardly had to go anywhere.
Right.
How are things at the rim of the Grand Canyon?
It's a mess out here, and it's supposed to snow again Tuesday.
Gratitude for weather takes so many interesting forms.
Really, I am never satisfied.
Well, gratitude for weather. I mean, for you, it's like, oh, the goats are clean now, or the weather is good, so I can access Flamin' Hot Cheetos. I mean, there's always some connection with you to weather that would make... Yes. I'm like, what? The weather's good so you can do what? The weather's good so we can fill our water tank. Okay.
We did that today.
See? Now, I heard from someone else in Arizona, also one of these peculiar the weather is good so calculations. The weather, it was really rainy here, so we could bury our dog. Like,
you know
okay, that's a good one. It's important. The last time we lost a dog, it was, solid frozen ground and 20 below, and the spousal unit was out there for a solid day, and then he said, you know what, we're going to have to go with the cremation option. But you don't think of stuff like that. I mean,
actually we do. We've had a cat body in the freezer.
Oh, that's still you have a cat body in the freezer still?
Yeah.
What has it been now? 3 years of cat body in the freezer?
I think maybe 2, maybe 1.
But it's rainy.
I don't know, but it's in the freezer outside. It's not in the house freezer.
I'm glad to hear that.
It needs to be. It definitely needs to be buried.
Let's see, what are we having for tonight? Tater tot casserole or
cat stew?
Ah!
Sabrina stew, yum, yum, yum.
Oh,
Speaking
dear.
of cooking.
Oh, dear. So I'm thinking that this is a day for my thought that would be that Frankie could bury the cat today with all of the snow and rain.
I think the ground is still frozen. He might need one of those things that you go in like Bob the Builder, And
backhoe. I think I would pay a blowtorch. Isn't it interesting that you're the guy who's married to the carpenter and I know the names for all the tools and parts?
I don't want to know. I was kidding.
Speaking of tools.
Yeah. Are we talking humans?
Now we're actually going to talk about actual tools. I don't know if I mentioned this. I may have lost my mind, where the spousal unit told the child that it was no big deal, that he could fix this little problem on on the spousal unit's bike. I already mentioned to you that
yes, you told me that the spousal unit told the kid to fix his own bike.
Right. Okay, so that was last time. The spousal unit told the kid to fix his own bike, and you know what I said about that. I said I expected to see the charge on the emergency credit card, but then the spousal unit lent the small cutie his own compromised bike, where he said, it's okay if it's just a little loose, that it won't hurt anything. It's not a safety issue. So the small cutie goes out to the eye exam, the annual eye exam. Do I need to change my glasses appointment? And he's running a little behind, as is the family tradition. And he's out to the garage to get the bike unlocked. And 5 minutes later, he's back holding, and I don't quite know the name of the metal part that the bike pedal is attached to. I think it's the pedal. I think it's the rubber part of the pedal, and then the clamp part of the pedal, and then the actual goes around in a circle part of the pedal.
I just think anything I don't know the name of is a sprocket.
Okay, well, in this case,
it's the bike sprocket.
It's the pedal. He comes in waving this pedal, and I was good and bad. I said, well, okay, this is why you listen to me and not that other parent. Every now and then the universe hands you a great illustrative example of the thing that you've been arguing, that the spouse has been arguing the other point. Every now and then you're like, see? It's like you don't even have to say, I told you so. You just get a big illustration. I think waving the part in your hand that your dad just told you is not going to cause you any difficulty. I think that's the moment where you go, oh, mom rocks. Mom knows more than... And I felt very happy about that. I was especially happy that the part didn't come off while he was riding fast. But I also probably felt as happy knowing that I'd been proven right without the bike ever leaving the garage. So, yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
So now is he taking this small cutie taking his bike to go get fixed by a real person?
On the way to the airport, while we were sitting in football game traffic, I said, and what charge do I expect to see on the emergency credit card when you get back? And he knew right away, fixing my bike. And I got to deliver like another small mom lecture. I said, there's a reason why some people are professionals. It's because they're professionals. That was fun. I enjoyed it. It felt good. It felt so good. It felt like some people go for a massage at a spa. I go for being right. That makes me happy.
I do have a cooking story for you.
A cooking story?
And I'm gonna blame you.
So you cooked the turkey is going to be my guess. The turkey that you got?
Yes. The turkey that I told you about that was...
The only kosher turkey in the state of Arizona.
Well, it was the only turkey up here.
Yes.
And so they pulled it out. It was $84. They marked it down to $24. This was our first Thanksgiving of 2023.
Yeah, and I know you do Thanksgiving like once a month at your house. I think it's lovely. If I liked turkey, that's what I would do. Yeah.
But this is the first kosher turkey I had ever unwrapped.
Uh-oh.
And there was like, I had to look it up. I Googled, what are these things all over my turkey? And they were like little feather pricky things.
Yes, pin feathers. You have to flick them off.
I started pulling them out.
Yes.
And I couldn't because my right hand still doesn't work right.
Oh, dear.
I spent the next hour and a half with tweezers.
You can use a strawberry huller, but yeah, tweezers will work.
Actually, I have even better news for you on this.
They will burn off if you roast the turkey at a high enough. Yes.
No, well, I cooked it at 325.
Okay.
And there wasn't a single one left on it. They just all cooked off.
Yeah.
So I spent 2 hours with tweezers.
For nothing.
Pulling these little sticker things off and using tweezers.
You flick this chicken for 2 hours with your bad wrist. Turkey, sorry. You flick the turkey. It sounds better when you flick a chicken. It has a better ring to it. You flick the turkey with a tweezers for 2 hours with your bad hand, which if you'd called me and asked me, I would have told you don't have to do. But you didn't.
It was Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. So you flicked the turkey. You flicked the turkey for 2 hours. You threw it in your oven, and then what happened?
It came out really good.
Oh, I thought you were going to blame me for something where the turkey got ruined. They're really good.
I just blame you because my hand's all swollen.
I do not take responsibility. I do not accept.
Residual.
No, do not.
Flicking feather.
Do not.
And
no.
swelling. No, it was really nice. And Eve had a friend over. And so it was 4 of us celebrating our first Thanksgiving of 2023. And then we watched people get arrested on the Reels channel.
What is that? Is that what's happened with cops now? Is there like a new cops show to take the place of the old cops show?
Yeah. But it's live. I do have this just fascination with watching people get in trouble.
You always have. That's what you did with your crime reporting when you quit being a crime reporter. Right.
Yep.
They used to send you out to cover all that criminal stuff. And finally, it just got so awful you couldn't do it anymore. So now you're 2 degrees of separation away. You get to watch people from the safety of your home, and you know that if it's really, really awful, they're not going to show it to you.
Right, exactly. But these were like dumb people. Like some guy had 5 ounces of meth. 5 ounces.
That strikes me as a lot. I don't know how much meth weighs at all.
I don't either.
Since you brought it up, for some reason, I feel compelled to keep trying to scare my youngest child with tales of what can go wrong.
Yeah.
And so every time there's a completely new and disgusting and horrifying thing that can happen to you as a result of taking some kind of drug that he shouldn't take, not that he would ever take it, just this is my insanity. Every time there's a story, I show him like the most grisly pictures and I tell him about it in the most horrifying terms. And the New York Times just earned every dime I spend on it because they delivered the scare the bejeepers out of your kid, mom arsenal just got much bigger. There's some new awful animal tranquilizer drug that people are taking and it literally causes them to have their limbs amputated pretty quickly.
I saw that.
And I
read that too, and I pointed it out to my youngest, who immediately said, "I don't do that stuff, Mom." I said, "Just in case, if someone in a van pulls up and offers you candy."
Yeah, well, my kid would probably say the same, but I don't want to miss a single opportunity to scare the Rice Krispies out of him.
Well, back 1 second to the on patrol thing. I just think if you've got like 4 or 5 ounces or pounds or whatever of illegal substances, you would be careful to not run red lights or not speed or not give any officer of the law any reason to pull you over and see all this sitting on the passenger seat.
You forget. Do you remember the commercials for Hair Club for Men?
Yes, and I'm a member.
I'm not just the meth club for men dealer. I'm also a customer. The funniest part of that article about the flesh-eating drug, they were going to study it in people, and then they said something else happened. I'm like, well, now you have studied it in people, so please don't study it in people anymore.
Yeah, I did think that part was weird, too.
They were going, what was it that intervened? They were going to study it in people, but what was it? It was a cold day or someone had to go mow the lawn or the lab caught fire. It was great for scaring the small cutie. I was very happy to have.
Especially when it's from a credible source.
Yeah,
like the New York Times.
It's not the Weekly World News.
Just some random Yahoo article or something.
On the internet, yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming you've come this far because you enjoy the podcast, may we recommend my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. It's available at your neighborhood bookstore or on Amazon. And if you're feeling especially generous, please leave the podcast a good review. Thanks.